Yeah, I was gonna ask what your plan would be to transition the welfare state over to more of a voluntary type situation where it wouldn't be taxed from the individual.
That's an excellent question. So, and this comes from the sort of the radical libertarian way of looking at things in terms of harm reduction. So, our number one proposal, our number one priority is to reduce the harm that is happening to people as a result of actions of the state. And what is the welfare state but the government basically going into otherwise healthy people, going over, beating them up, taking everything from them, using a little bit of what they stole from them to give them, a crutch and some food, and saying, hey, look, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have that crutch and you wouldn't have that little bit of food, even though they're the ones who put them in that position of needing that in the first place. Now, how bad would it be of us to show up and go, oh, you poor thing, look at this terrible thing that's happened to you. We'll fix this, and then we take their crutch and their food. So our priority is not to, kick people off of welfare or anything like that. Our priority is to remove those harmful actions that have put people in a position where they need welfare in the first place. And so that would be pressuring states to remove the occupational licensing and actually using the Department of Justice to challenge occupational licensing laws as a First Amendment violation, as a violation of people's right to be able to start businesses, as a unfair criminalization of poor entrepreneurialism, of people in poverty who are being entrepreneurs, to help bring them up so that when I did door knocking tours in housing projects, almost everyone I spoke to had some kind of a side hustle, side job they were doing to try to get ahead. These are people that were living on, welfare and food stamps and housing vouchers and in public housing. And they didn't want to be there. They wanted to get ahead, but they couldn't afford the thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars that it would cost them to be able to legally mow lawns or cut hair or braid hair or make food for catering. Or this was not, these weren't people trying to be rocket scientists or neurosurgeons. These were people doing stuff that there's no reason for the government or really anyone else to be telling them how they can do it, and they couldn't afford those compliance costs, so they were stuck where they were. And imagine how many people they'd be able to employ if they'd be able to do that. So a big part of our structure would be of our plan would be to allow people to rise out of poverty by removing the barriers that allow them to do so. And also removing barriers to mutual aid, like laws that make it illegal for you to feed homeless people without a license in many states. We would actively challenge these things as violations of people's rights and use whatever pressure we could to remove those things so that people can lift themselves up and turn around and help each other, and so that people can lift each other out so that they won't need welfare in the first place. But in terms of actually ending welfare or cutting off people's checks or anything like that, when you look at all the other things we want to do, ending the wars, ending the war on drugs, ending the war on sex work, sound money over bad fiat currency, removing the barriers to entry for people that want to get out of poverty, cutting off people's checks that they use to be able to survive is absolutely at the bottom. It's not even a priority of ours.